Hi, it's Ryan from Knights Around a Table, and looky what I got! It's a couple copies of Root, the base game, and the first expansion, and this! The Root Crate by Laserox. This is the latest in a series of reboxings I've been doing, courtesy of Laserox, who sent me a bunch of their inserts. So we're gonna try to fit everything in these two boxes into this crate, which shouldn't be too much of a difficulty really, because this thing, I think, is pretty gigantic. Now, what does it fit? Well, this is not the only expansion for Root. If you're a Root fan, you know all about it. This is the Riverfolk expansion, and there have been, to date, 4 expansions for Root and a few little card packs. And this crate that they sent me a couple months ago fits absolutely everything. Except, after I received it, a new Kickstarter launched for Root the Marauders expansion. This is why this is kind of like a tricky business to be in, making inserts for board games. This reminds me of when I was writing a book. I wrote a book on a game engine called Unity, and with no help from the creators of Unity. And I went and the book was ready, it was ready to be published, and then the moment it went out for sale, they upgraded Unity, and now a bunch of the scripts in my book didn't work. There was a workaround. I had to put errata on the website, which kind of stunk. But the publisher really liked my book. They said, oh, we got to make a new version to fit the thing that they just put out. So typey, I slaved away on the second version of this book. And then right when it was about to be released, they upgraded Unity. And so it went for about 3 or 4 different versions. And so that's what I think Laserox and other companies that make inserts and aftermarket products for board games are facing with this is you can make a box that fits everything, and then they release more everything. So we shouldn't have any trouble today because I don't actually own Root. This is my friend Derek's copy. He was very gracious to loan it to me. Just really briefly about my history with the game. I didn't enjoy when I played it the first time because of two factors. First, this is a game that's asymmetric, which means that every player has a different set of rules that they're playing by. And I think to really appreciate the game, you kind of have to know what everybody can do. I thought, man, nobody plays my expansions with me, so we sat down to play a Root, and instead of playing one of the base characters, I thought, oh, I'll play the merchants in the expansion just so you get some of your expansion content played, Derek. And if you don't know how all of the different characters work, the Riverfolk, the merchants, rely on knowing how everybody works. So I was completely, and to teach the game, this is the other thing. Derek taught me the game, and I don't really tend to enjoy games that other people teach me, if that makes any sense. I have to be the one poring over the rule. As you know, I have a thing with board game rules. I have to be the one poring over the rule book, and I have to know what's going on. So when other people teach it to me, you know, they gloss over a few details, as they should, because they don't want the teach to last an hour. So it was that combined factor. I didn't know what everybody was supposed to be doing, and my character relied on that, and somebody else taught me the game. So I think that if I were to take this into my little corner and crack the rule book and go over it for hours, I think that I would appreciate Root a lot more, because it's a very popular game. People really, really enjoy this game. You know that if you're here because you want to say, hey, Ryan, shut up and show me the crate. Well, here we go. This time I amassed, I believe, all of the things that I need in order to open this, and this is the list of materials you'll need if you buy a Laserox insert. This is a craft knife, all of the connections, it's all laser cut, and everything's cut all the way around except for usually 2 little contact points, and you can twist the piece, pop it out. But sometimes if it gets stuck, you need a little help, boop, that's the craft knife. I'm gonna wear a mask because it gets a little bit sawdusty and it bothers my lungs a little bit, so that's no big deal. You should have 2 or 3 or 400 of these kicking around by now. I have wood glue, not PVC, PBA glue, not white craft glue, which is what I had for the very first reboxing I did with these guys. You want wood glue because this is made out of wood. You don't want to glue it as you're putting it together. What Laserox recommends is put the whole thing together, make sure you got it right, and then take it all apart and glue it back together. I would go one step further and say, put it all together dry, and then let it sit for a week maybe even a month. I don't know, let the wood all sort of ease in and let the joints kind of loosen up and need glue, because I have found that if everything snaps together really tightly, and if you immediately try to pry everything apart so that you can glue it, you might get some breakages. So I think let it all relax and breathe into itself for a period of time before you try taking it apart to glue it back together for the final pass. What else? The thing that I forget every single time I do one of these reboxings, a mallet. This one is a little bit big. You don't need a cartoonishly large rubber mallet. If you're really into Laserox, of course, they're gonna sell you one of these on their website, but I'm gonna see what I can do with this bruiser. Right, so we're gonna go into a time lapse of me putting together the insert. I'll come back and tell you how it went, and then we'll put it all back together in the box. But before we do that, there are 3 very important buttons I'd like you to click for me. One says subscribe, one says thumb, either pointing up or pointing down, you pick, it doesn't matter to me, and one has a bell on it so that YouTube will notify you when I've got new stuff coming out. All right, here we go. You know, this series seemed like a really good idea when I came up with it. So there you have it. There's the crate, lovely, and we're gonna put all the stuff from the games in the crate. So join me. Laserox, I think you're forgetting something. Wait. When I approached them and said, hey, why don't you send me a couple of your inserts and I'll do some videos on reboxings, they said sure, and we didn't agree on what was going to be sent or anything. They just kind of like went over, I think I might have given them a link to my collection. They sent me stuff that I didn't have games for anyway, so, but that's okay. That's okay, I overcame it, that's fine. However, all right, here's the instruction manual for this product. There you go. So, okay, you've got a top and you put the sides on. I'll mention, and I've said this before about their instructions, the little acorn details that are on the edge of the box. Hold on, you might not have seen those actually. How am I going to, here, I'll go here. So here, this, little acorn detailing, this cutout right here, is not reflected in here. And they do that a lot with their inserts, and I really think that they should update their instructions so that the pieces, for super dumb folks like me, just so that you're like, is that the one with the, yeah, okay, that's the one with the acorn. Anyway, back here. So, okay, put the top in the sides and then put the bottom in the sides, fine. Step 3, draw the rest of the effing owl. Put the insert inside and then put the expansion insert, and that says, use base game organizer for the first layer, the expansion organizer for the second layer. So they didn't send either of those to me. So all I can do is this whole thing where we're gonna put everything in the box, we're gonna skip that part. But I can comment on what I've got, and here are my comments. So there are different ways to do inserts. This is like not an insert but an outsert. I don't know what the word is. This is a whole box. This is meant to replace your game boxes, which I have mixed feelings about, because if you're a huge fan of the Root artwork, one of the other points I'll pick about Root as a game is that if you're a huge fan of the artwork, those Richard Scarry style cracked out gigantic iris forest animals, you don't get that in the box. Hold on, maybe we will open the box. So these are the characters who are on the box. They look like they love drugs. And then we'll crack that open and see inside you get that artwork on the cards, fine, but then on the actual pieces, and you get that, you know, scratchy, cartoony style. Sure, you get it on the boards. I think my beef was that the pieces don't look, here, we'll put that close-up camera here. The pieces don't look anything like, not really, the characters on the box and the cards. I guess they kind of have huge pupils, but that cat right there doesn't look anything like the cat that's on the front of the box. So if you really like the artwork, it's not really reflected in the game pieces all that well, which I was like, nah, I don't know about that. But then you enter a product like the Laserox crate, and you don't get that art. Like if you really like the artwork, you really like the look of the cover, and you're not going to get that on your box anymore, right? I have my boxes displayed. I don't know about you, but I really like good artwork and board games, and so I have some of my favorites displayed in an IKEA Kallax shelf, you know, cover out, just because they're so pretty to look at when I walk by. So if you really dig the artwork, you kind of have to put up with Laserox's reimagining of the logo, and they've drawn a sword and stuff because they can't use the characters, right? Because it's not their IP. They can't reuse those characters. They do have a little nod to it on the side here with the shapes of the meeples. They figure they can get away with that maybe because that's the components in the game. So, like, your mileage may vary on whether or not you find that an appealing solution. What I would do with this to pretty it up, one thing I'm not a huge fan of, I don't know what these are called, maybe you can help me out in the comments. They're not quite dovetail joints, but they're this, you know, tooth and gap groove, woohoo, kind of thing. I don't know what that's called. I don't like the look of that super a lot. I find that kind of crude looking, and you find it in a bunch of board game aftermarket outsert boxes. It's not my favorite, but I think that if I were a massive Root fan, had all the expansions, and I want to put them in something like this, definitely a way to pretty this up, to spruce it up, would be to stain the box. So if you got a nice stain, everything would go into these laser etched pieces of artwork. This artwork isn't bad. I'm not too worried about it. It looks kind of cool. And then a really nice thing about the way this box opens, I showed you that acorn. Look at this. Ooh, that's pretty nice, right? There's acorns all around the corners, and they notch into that just like that. Oh, it fits like a glove. Beautiful precision cutting. So that looks really cool. I'm just a little bit bummed out, to be honest, that they didn't send along the things to go in the crate. Well, what should we talk about? That was supposed to be my video for the week. I have one more insert from Laserox so that we can rebox another game. It's another one of these where they claim that it fits all of the expansions, so look forward to that, and I'm pretty sure that I've got all the pieces for that. And I even went and I bought the expansions for that game. And I'm not going to tell you what the game is, but I'll give you a little hint. So that's coming up. If you like the content on this channel, I'm not sure why you would. I asked you to click that subscribe button. I'd like you to unclick that subscribe button now, because this has been an absolute travesty. But if for some bizarre reason you do enjoy the content on this channel and you want to support me financially, hit me up on Patreon. I got a cool campaign going right now, and I'm only going to start adding amazing stuff. If you like bits and you like my new series, Bits Please, oh my gosh, you're gonna want to jump on the Patreon campaign, because there's some cool stuff coming up that you're not gonna want to miss. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Did you just watch that whole thing? Oh, hey, to 100% this video, click the badge to subscribe, and then click the bell to get notifications when I've got new stuff.